Information does not equal transformation. Students aren't paying for steps they could Google. They're paying for clarity from your lived experiences, accountability to keep them moving forward, mentorship, walking alongside them, whatever that might look like for you. So AI can be your collaborator, but it's not the end all be all.
Hallå internet! Jag heter Linda Hörnfeldt och jag brinner för att hjälpa soloföretagare som du att bygga hållbara företag genom att bemästra kraften som är ditt personliga varumärke och sociala medier. Flying Solo är podcasten för dig som vill skapa en meningsfull business som inte bara växer utan som också känns rätt i hjärtat och gör skillnad. Tack för att du är här. Nu kör vi! Hej och varmt välkommen till ett nytt avsnitt av Flying Solo. Det här avsnittet är ganska speciellt för mig då jag idag får intervjua för andra gången en av mina idoler inom den här online business-världen. Det är Amy Porterfield som är skaparen av Digital Course Academy som då är kursen jag gick för att lära mig göra kurser. Det här är way back in 2018 gick jag min första kurs med henne. Så att det här är extra kul för att sen dess så har jag ju varit affiliate för Amy. Vilket innebär att jag varje höst promotar hennes kurs och sen så får jag en kickback på den. Så att jag är en del av hennes lansering. Vilket är skitkul att se hur någon som är så bra på det hon gör, hur hon lägger upp hela lanseringen, vad hon har, liksom vilka olika steg hon gör. Så det är väldigt roligt att vara med liksom på behind the scenes lite grann. Men också såklart att jag får faktiskt prata om den här personen och den här kursen, grejen som faktiskt förändrade mitt liv. Så att det är lite extra kul att få ha henne med här i podden idag. Amy är alltså expert på digital marknadsföring. Hon har hjälpt tusentals entreprenörer att bygga sina drömföretag med hjälp av digitala kurser. Och hon har drivit den här businessen i över 15 år. Så att hon har varit med ett tag. Hon vet vad hon pratar om. Men det som gör det här samtalet väldigt speciellt är att hon också numera är väldigt personlig i sitt content och pratar till exempel om sin egen utbrändhet, sin egen depression. Som hon har liksom varit deprimerad till och från sen hon var i tonåren. Och det här är någonting som jag just nu vurmar extra mycket för eftersom att jag själv är sjukskriven för utbrändhet eller utmattning just nu. Så att det här är någonting som vi går in på ganska mycket faktiskt. Det var väldigt speciellt för mig för att jag har väl känt någonstans att Amy har alltid, och det här pratar hon om i podden också, hon har alltid liksom haft den här bilden att hon måste vara professionell för att liksom inte, för att vara legit någonstans i sin bransch. Och då kan man liksom inte vara personlig och prata om sådana där saker. Men hon har ju liksom ändrat sin syn på det. Och jag har ju alltid liksom pratat om det här i mina kanaler. Vi skojade om att jag ska ha som min tagline oversharing on the internet for 20 years. And counting, det är lite grann mitt varumärke. I det här samtalet så pratar vi också om varför digitala kurser är mer relevant än någonsin just nu. Och varför autenticitet någonstans är nyckeln till en framgångsrik kurs 2025. Det här är ett avsnitt för dig som vill bygga en hållbar business med liksom hjärtat på rätt ställe. Så att här kommer min intervju med Amy Porterfield. Today, I am joined by someone who hardly needs an introduction. My mentor, Amy Porterfield. She's a digital marketing expert, best-selling author, and the creator of Digital Course Academy. That is a mouthful. A program that helped thousands of entrepreneurs build scalable, sustainable businesses with online courses. Warm welcome, Amy Porterfield.
Well, thank you so much. So glad to be here.
How are you this early and bright morning? I said, like, how do you look like this 8 a.m. your time?
And I was saying, I am such an early bird. 5 a.m., I do my best work, but 9 p.m., I'm in bed. But you said you can stay up really late. And I do think that those who stay up late are more creative. I've read lots of reports about that. So you must be more creative than me.
That's our story and we're sticking to it. That's mine at least. So we have a lot to get through today. And so we should just get started. And just before this, I was re-listening to your podcast episode about the biggest trends, like fails and good ideas to do with digital courses. Now, Digital Course Academy, for someone who is not English speaking, is like I just stutter every time. So I'm just going to go for DCA. And yeah, you did that, and you boldly stated in this episode that digital courses are dead. So would you like to go further into that? Like, what do you
Let's
mean?
back that up. So I do not think digital courses are dead. However, there has been a lot of talk. Are they dead because of AI and what's happening and information being so readily available, more so than ever? So the way we used to look at courses, yeah, I could say that is dead. But really, the truth is digital courses are evolving. And if you've never gotten in the game, if you've thought about creating a course or maybe never thought about it until today, you waiting actually could have been your biggest advantage, because I believe creating and launching a course today, taking your knowledge and turning that into something you could sell to many versus working one-on-one and always hitting that revenue ceiling, taking your knowledge, packaging it up, selling it to many, it's become easier. And dare I say, more meaningful than ever before. And we'll get into some of that. So courses are alive and well, to be very, very clear. And human perspective.
It's a good hook, though. It's a good hook.
Yes, true. Human perspective and lived experiences and stories and support and accountability, all of that cannot be replaced by AI.
I kind of love this shift because and I've been going through it. We'll talk about that too. This past year, I've done a lot of personal development and a lot of realization. And I also realized that when I did my first course back in 2018 with your help, I was also very focused on the knowledge. And even though I was working with personal branding, I was also very focused on the knowledge and on like, what is it worth if it's only me, you know? But that is the big shift. So tell me, what changed in the market? Is it all AI?
So what's changed in the market? I think last year we saw a lot of digital courses that were AI created, really watered down. No one was excited about them. So we saw pretty early on that's not going to work. If you ever see an ad that says use AI to create your digital course in 2 hours, don't believe it, because you're going to get a watered down course nobody wants.
You could create more and it's not going to be good though.
Exactly. It's not
going to sell.
Exactly. So what we're seeing now is that information does not equal transformation. So you can get on AI and you can ask it anything and you can get a step-by-step plan even. But what you're not going to get is the support in the moment when you get stuck from somebody who's been there before, knows the nuances, and can help you move forward. Or the accountability, or understanding the nuances due to someone's lived experience of, I did it this way, here's how it turned out, here's how I think you should do it. So let me give you an example. My son is right out of college, and he is really into fitness, and he wanted to run a 4-minute mile. So he got on ChatGPT and outlined for the next
fast.
Right? Ridiculous. The next 6 weeks, I think it was, how can he get to a 4-minute mile? So he gave him like, okay, week 1, do this, week 2, week 3. So he's got his plan. But about week 3, he fell off and he hasn't been doing it. No one's there to encourage him. No one's there to support him, really kind of make those tweaks that are needed to keep him moving forward. Mm-hmm. That's what people want to pay for. So again, information does not equal transformation. Students aren't paying for steps they could Google. They're paying for clarity from your lived experiences, accountability to keep them moving forward, mentorship, walking alongside them, whatever that might look like for you. So AI can be your collaborator, but it's not the end all be all.
I want to do an entire podcast episode about how you use AI, because I have listened to your episode and I'm like,
I'm obsessed. I love AI.
Yeah, me too. And I'm so excited to see, and we're skipping ahead, but you know, the AI agents and stuff that you built into DCA, I am really excited to see what that looks like. So what do you see most course creators doing wrong? Because I mean, a lot of it is, you know, evergreen and the funnels, and that's hard to build in the support and all that.
Got it. So where do I think course creators get it wrong? Well, the first one is Often when we create our first digital course, we feel as though we need to throw everything in the kitchen sink into that course.
Been there, done
right?
that.
We want, me too. And we want to be able to say, like, if we want to charge $500 for that course, well, it better be good and it better include a lot. The best courses actually get you results quickly.
Yeah.
You have, my friend Jenna Kutcher says it like this: you have a problem on Tuesday, we're going to solve it by Thursday. Now, that's a little abbreviated, but quick results people want. And so if you throw everything in there the first time out, it really will bog down you as the course creator and your students. Now, there's a time and place for the bigger signature courses. I've been in it for 16 years. I have a beautiful signature course, but I led up to it. So first time course creators, one of the mistakes is trying to do too much with your first course. We're going to ease into it. I like to say create a spotlight course, which you take one area of your expertise that you've done really well and you drill down on that in your course. Let me give you an example. One of my students, Rob Green, he's a photographer, and he created his first digital course about how to make flash photography look like natural light. Now, this man's a photographer. So he could teach on everything: how to build a business with photography, how to get more clients, how to take the most amazing photos in all these different styles. No, one thing: how to make flash photography look like natural light. Yeah. And so that's a spotlight course. He took one area of expertise and went deep. And he made $12,000 with a tiny email list, tiny, like less than 100. And he was able to make $12,000 with his very first launch because he got specific. So that's one of the first mistakes that I see made. Now, I want to touch on the other thing you mentioned about, like, if a course is evergreen, which those who are listening, if you don't understand that term, means automated. So you automate it where your promotions are automated, your emails are automated. So while you're sleeping, you could actually make money with your course. And it's a real thing. It really does happen. However, the question is, how do you walk alongside them? How do you become their mentor? How do you give them support and accountability, things AI will never do, if you don't want to give 24/7 support, right? And always be on. And so there's ways for you to add in those support and accountability elements that you don't have to be on 24/7. For example, you could do office hours. So once a week for a certain period of time, you show up on Zoom and you have office hours. Anyone in your program can come at that time, ask any questions. I do a monthly Q&A. I have an automated program as well. And every month for 12 months, my students get me live on a Zoom call just to do rapid fire Q&A. So there's a live aspect there. You could do a Slack channel where you are available, Monday through Friday. You always say, I'll get back to you within 24 hours. And you could have those Slack conversations. Voxer, where they could send you audio. You put boundaries around it. But these are things that make you stand out that other people aren't willing to do, which means you will be able to have success with your course.
Yeah, I think that I listened to Jenna on the Launch Diaries, and her first course was the Jenna Kutcher course, and it's hilarious because I'm like, well, girls got confidence, that's for sure.
So true.
I'd like to get me some of that. But that's hilarious because I did that too. And I realized now, because I'm going to do DCA this fall because I'm redoing my whole business, my whole course, all of it. All of it's getting a reboot. And I realized just looking at my course this fall and like where people dropped off, and I'm like, it's too big. It's too much. People drop off on like module 3 out of 5 because it's too much. And I was like, I've been teaching this for how many years now? and I did it myself. So yeah, I hear you. But I think that is, you want to prove yourself. You want to show that you're worthy of the money and the attention and the clients, but you're doing them a disservice because, as you say, you want to get from A to B as fast as possible. And all of the other stuff can be bonuses or, stuff like that. But yeah, that is a really good point. And I really took that with me listening to Jenna. I'm like, yeah, okay, we're going to have to cut back, trim the fat a lot. Yes. And then maybe make other courses, because that's what I see also. It's not just signature courses and launches these days. 6-month programs, it's memberships, and you cannot do all of that with the basic knowledge of doing a course. It's all basically the same. It's just like it's delivered differently. What's your thoughts there? Because you've done these launches, you do the boot camp, and then you've done this for years now. Right. How do you feel about, because I know now you added the Millie Club, and you added a bunch of premium offers. So how do you feel about, the suite, or like the different kinds of courses and offers that people make these days?
I love this question. So
good, because I've been thinking about this for a while. Your thoughts on it?
Yes. I have a philosophy, and you've probably heard me say it before, where you need to stay in your lane longer than you probably want to. So what I mean by that is, when you get an area of expertise, and let's say you create your first course, the way I teach course creation is you create your course once, and then you launch it over and over and over again. And each time you launch it over and over again, you get better at the marketing, your messaging, how you support your students. Every other year, I update my course that I've launched year after year since 2019. I update my course, or I update my marketing. But it's the same course. It's the same principles and guiding principles that I know work. They're tried and true. Yeah. So in the beginning, when you're, let's say, creating your first course, you're going to go all in with that, and you're going to stay with it and optimize it for a very long time. And the reason why this is important, and why I would die on this hill, is because if you want to be known for something, if you want to cut through the online noise and your name come up around a specific topic, you have to stay in your lane longer than you want. And when I say longer than you want, what I mean by that is, we are creatives. We like variety. We want to try this, and a membership, and a coaching program, and a course, and try that summit and this event. But if you do less, you will make more. So that's the first thing, staying in your lane. So if you were in an entrepreneurial room and someone said, I really want to create a digital course, who can teach me? I can guarantee you my name will come up. Not from ego, but because I've been in this lane for a very long time. Branding. Yes. So I talk about courses. I teach courses. I get interviewed about courses. This is my area of expertise. Yeah. It didn't start that way. I started teaching Facebook marketing. Then I got really good at teaching it via a course. And then I got good at webinars, selling my course. And people started saying, teach me what you're doing. Yeah. And that's when things started to come together. So you've got to take action so things start to come together. Data will present itself to you to move you to where you're supposed to go. Action creates clarity. Okay, so now— I love
that. That is my best saying ever. I love that.
Me too. I first heard it from Marie Forleo, and I was like, I have to say that because it's literally so true for my students and myself.
I have it in every talk I do. It's all there. Yeah. Sorry.
So, okay,
ADHD on the move.
Yes. With that, you're staying in your lane longer than maybe you think you should, but I promise that's how you put yourself on the map. Once you do that, once you have that locked in, I talk about this concept of earning your elevation, the elevation of serving a new client or new customer avatar, elevation of adding a new program to the mix, elevation of creating a new revenue stream, whatever that might be. And so, for instance, you brought up my Millie Club. So I've got this club of women who make $500K and they want to have their first $1 million year. So we call it the Millie Club. I work with 30 women at a time. It's very expensive and it's incredible. I didn't have the Millie Club till last year. I've been in business 16 years. And so after I got really good at creating my course and selling it and becoming known for something, I then said, okay, I'm ready to start serving people at a different level. So I've added the Millie Club. So earn your elevation. It doesn't have to take as long as I took. I'm kind of a dog with a bone. I stay in a lane probably longer than most, but it served me well. So if you could take that away from this one conversation, it's the difference maker for sure.
Yeah. I remember this was one of the first things when I went, because I took courses that convert. That was before DCA, and then I took DCA when you launched that in 2019, because I built my course in the fall of 2018. And I remember you said that don't launch anything else for, I think it was 18 months, or if it was 2 years, I think it was 18 months. And I was like, because I had a friend who launched pretty much the same time as I did. And 3 months later, she did a new course. And then 3 months later, she did a new course. And she didn't get burned out because she doesn't do that. But she can work like 24/7. But she got really conflicted and confused with how she was going to market everything. And I was like, I'm doing the 18 months. I'm just doing the 18 months. I'm just going to trust Amy and not, just stay in my lane. And that's what I've done. And you, as you say, you update it and you do different marketing. And now I feel like I've been doing this for 6 years, 6.5. And now I feel like, okay, now I have to rework it because now I've learned so much more about what goes into personal branding and how it is really just personal development. But you take it into your business, and that's where I am right now. ChatGPT is working hard with this one.
I love that.
But this is also one of because now when you launched the Millie Club, which I think was genius, because I've thought about that for a few years. I'm like, why doesn't Amy have a premium program? What is happening over there? Have I misunderstood something? But then you also rebranded your podcast and your newsletter. And because we're going into like when we talk about the point of view, the authenticity, like it's the person behind the business that is the unique selling point, basically.
Right.
And I know because we talked last time about like you didn't like to do video at all. Right. And now you do video all the freaking time.
Every day.
And I'm impressed but that's it. Action creates clarity and you have to practice to be comfortable with something, you know? But going from, I don't like video, and you've been a very private person, to talking about your depression, burnout, on your podcast, but then also going in a completely different direction with your newsletter, like, doing it, like writing it yourself, just going from your own brain and your own, like what you've been through. I think it's a big transformation for you. And I feel like that is, because for me, it's always been very natural. I've always been very open. And I mean, I talked about my first depression in 2005. So on my blog. So I've been like maybe oversharing on the internet for 20 years. That should be like my copyrights there.
Oversharing on the internet for 20 years. That should be your website header.
I should probably go for that. But so for me, it's been very natural. I'm like, well, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. What, are people catching up now? But for you, it's a new thing. So talk about that. How does that feel for you to do that shift? And is it like, because I feel like of course it's a strategy, but strategy doesn't have to mean it's not authentic, you know? So can you talk about that? There is a question in there somewhere.
For the last few years, I've been more open and honest about what it looks like behind the scenes of building this business. There's a few reasons why I wasn't before. Number one, I have a husband that's not really into social media. So turning the camera on our life when I'm not working is not his most favorite thing. So it doesn't feel natural in our environment. Number two, you're right. I'm not a big fan of being on video. Of course, now it's just natural, but I don't necessarily love a camera in my face when I'm not working. And then that comes down to the working thing. I grew up in corporate. So right out of college, I've been in a corporate job all the way up until my last job with Tony Robbins. So all of that made me feel as though I just need to always be professional, polished, professional, and keep the focus on work. People pay me for my knowledge around marketing. So why would they care about anything else? But what I realized is I cared about everything else with the people that I followed. I wanted to know who their family was, what their values were, what was important to them. I wanted to know the good, bad, and ugly. So when I realized, I'm not sharing what entrepreneurship really looks like if all I teach is online marketing. And so that's when I started to share. And one of the biggest things that I started to share was about my depression and anxiety. And for me, I have had low-level depression since college. My parents got divorced when I went to college, and that's when I started to see it really come up. I've been doing therapy ever since then, but I've had moments where it's gotten really, really bad. And in 2021, my depression was at an all-time high. It was a horrible year in my business because of it. And I didn't want to get out of bed. And so I had to look for a solution. And I don't know if this is inappropriate to say on your show, but since you've been oversharing since
I mean,
20 years,
go for it.
I did a ketamine treatment or protocol where for 6 weeks I did ketamine with a doctor, and it was it was specifically used for PTSD soldiers, but then they realized it lifts depression. So I did this protocol for 6 weeks, and boom, it was gone. And I will say, since then, that was in 2021, 2022. Since then, I think 2022, I have not ever said I am depressed. Now, I'll get that little black cloud over my head out of nowhere, and I'll do what we call a tune-up of a ketamine with a doctor. But other than that, it's not a huge part of my life at all anymore. The anxiety is another thing. That is still very much part of my life. But the depression has lifted, and that is life-changing for me. Anyone who knows what it feels like to have depression, it is life-changing when it goes away.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there too. I don't think I've ever heard about ketamine treatments or protocols in Sweden. I don't think it's a thing.
Okay.
I think it's super illegal to start with.
I'm guessing, yeah. And
Yeah,
it's illegal here unless administered from a doctor.
Yeah, because we don't have, I mean, my ADHD meds are like narcotics. Well, it's sort of, because it's light amphetamine in ADHD meds. But I think, yeah, I'm not going to go into that and talk about it because I feel like I'm walking on thin ice right now. But but I think that is so important to talk about, because I've also realized, like, lately, I didn't even know about nervous system regulation until like a year ago. So I've been getting into that. And like last week, I went to, I don't know if it's called in English, osteopath. It's like an Eastern medicine. It's a chiropractor, but working more with like the fascia, like yeah. And you go through, and she does like trigger points with the nervous system. And I was like, the day after, no, not really. It's not needles and it's not acupressure. It's more like she goes with the tension and the blood flow in the fascia and the nerve system.
Oh, wow.
And then it also with the muscles and all of that. But it was like the day after, I was like, I was so calm. I was so relaxed. And then a few days after, the tiger was chasing me again. But yeah. But I felt like, oh my God, I think maybe I hacked the system. Can I actually let the body take care of the anxiety? I don't have to do it in my head, because that's beautiful. The way it's been. Yeah. And I was like, I feel like that must have been with you and the ketamine protocol. It's like, oh my God, there's actually a solution. I don't have to think my way into the solution of this. Because that's what we do. That's what we do. We perform. I tried to perform my way out of burnout. It's not the thing. It's not going to work.
It doesn't work that way, right?
No, unfortunately.
And the reason I share the ketamine thing, and I didn't share it for a long time because I didn't want to be polarizing to other people that are like, what the heck are you doing? But I share it to say, not that you should go do ketamine, but you should find what works for you and not be afraid to explore, work with doctors, therapists. But the biggest message I want to say is, I was so mad at myself. Why didn't I do something sooner? I had been miserable for a very long time with it. So why didn't I look into either medication or this protocol or something else? And I think there's a stigma around like you said, like, I'll just think my way out of it. I've got to have better willpower. I need to meditate or whatever it might be.
It's just discipline.
It's just discipline. It's not. I believe it is a mental illness. I think
it is.
Right? I think depression and anxiety should be treated as mental illnesses. And so because of that, we have to find solutions that work for us.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it is proven that it has things to do with the hormones and the chemicals in the brain. It's not, you're not insane, but you have insufficient, the chemicals are not doing the thing in the brain. Right. So so I mean, it makes sense that the ketamine would work for that. We're not going to get into it. But anyway, I think that is really interesting. And end all be all, it is your life and you have to find your own solution. Because I went to the doctor, because I'm on medical leave now for burnout. And I went to the doctor 5 weeks ago, and he was like, okay, take 6 weeks off. Good luck. And I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do during these 6 weeks? I didn't get any, I have a therapist, so I talked to her, but I didn't get anything from the healthcare. It was just like, you just rest. And I'm like, well, it's the brain doing how do you rest the brain? Can I have some drugs? Because I don't know how to turn off the brain. So I think that coming back to like talking about these things makes us, I mean, as course creators, as business owners, more human. And I think that makes it easier for people to feel like, hey, if they can do it, because we've been doing this. You started your business in 2010. I started my business in 2010. Then your acceleration has been different, but but we've been in this business for a long time, and I think people can look at us and be like, well, they're over there, they're on that level, but we're not. We have knowledge and experience, but we also struggle, and we've also been on square one. So yes, we have a head start, but it doesn't mean that you can't catch up.
So very true. And I always say, don't compare the back end of your business to somebody's shiny front end that they only share the highlights on social media. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, which is why I'm a big fan of blinders. A horse in a race has blinders on. You can't look left or right. Just run your own race. So if you ask me, Amy, tell me about all your competitors, I genuinely could not. I don't want to know about them. I don't care what they're doing. I've been at this long enough to know that I can do my thing and get people results. In the beginning, I probably looked a little bit more. It just doesn't serve me. I just run my own race, knowing there are other people who do what I do, but I just do it my way.
I think that is so good. I try. My algorithm and I are not really seeing eye to eye on that, because I get a lot of social media stuff. But I'm trying to do that too. Just like I'm being a big fan of trusting my intuition, because I think that's what I've lost for the past couple of years. I've kind of stopped trusting myself, trying to get validation from outside of me for what I'm doing. And I think that has been my biggest problem right now. But I think that is so good, because I usually say, keep your eyes on the road, or you're going to drive into a ditch somewhere.
Yes.
And that's pretty much the same thing. Yes. That's a really good one. But how do you do that? I mean, when you did this episode on depression, because that must have been a big shift for you. Like, how do you do that? How do you feel like that you're comfortable doing that? And also, how do you feel like you're not oversharing, or you feel like you felt like, why would anyone want to know?
Yes. It was a long time ago that I made a video. I bet it was 8-9 years ago, where I said, it was like a 16-minute podcast. It wasn't a video, 16-minute podcast. And the title was something like, Why I Don't Like Video, and It's Not What You Think. And it was the first time I ever
I remember that one. Yeah.
It was the first time I ever talked about, I'm really embarrassed about my weight, and that's why I don't like to be on video. Now, since then, I've lost weight and gone through a big transformation. But regardless, like for years, I was very overweight on camera. And I thought, who's going to buy from me if I'm overweight? Which is the saddest thought ever.
People buy from me and I'm overweight.
My friend.
No, but true. I mean, I'm agreeing.
It's such a terrible thought, right? And then I think of Oprah. Oprah, her weight was up and down, very publicly. Yeah. One of the most successful women on the world. And so to answer your question, my insecurities, I thought I was hiding them, but I think that they were very apparent on video. And I think that sharing them released me. I felt more freedom. So I really did it probably for me. Like, I love that you said it's a strategy, but also it could still be very authentic.
Yeah.
I think at first it wasn't a strategy for my business. It was a strategy for me to have more freedom and feel lighter in general about, these are the things that I feel insecure about. But you're right. It did become a strategy in my business. My audience felt more connected to me, which is a really big deal when you have a personal brand. So anyway, I shared this episode. I had to read a script. It was 16 minutes about why I'm insecure going on video. And, but it wasn't until years later that I started to even become more comfortable, talking about it. And another reason I wanted to do it is I wanted women to see themselves in me. No matter if you don't like the way you look, the way you sound, that you feel like you're not ready, we have to get ourselves out there. I want more women making money and stewarding money different in this world. So I had to be an example of going. I always say, I'll go first, and then I'll teach you what worked and what didn't work. So anyway, there's a lot of reasons why I started to share more openly, and I do feel more free for it. Oh, but let me say one thing real quick. I have a philosophy about what I share. I rarely share any oozy scabs that are still open. I know that sounds very gross, but I need it to be graphic. So let's say today.
That's what I do right now.
Okay, so say we could be different. And there's a lot of people that share the oozy scab.
Yeah.
So I'm not right in this. It's just right for me. So if something were to happen today, I'll tell you this. A year ago, my husband and I started having some challenges in our marriage. He became kind of lost his way. He retired from fire department and kind of lost his way when we moved to Tennessee. So we decided we were going to go to counseling. So we went to counseling for about a good 6 months, and then I shared it on the podcast. If I had shared it the first week, it would be an oozy scar that I had no value to add. It would just
and
be
it's not just yours.
Yeah, it's not just mine. But even if it was mine, I don't like to share from, I have nothing to offer, but here's my mess. I just personally don't like that. But 6 months later, I could say, here's my mess. This is what it looked like. Here's some steps I took, might help you or not. I'm not perfect. I haven't figured it all out, but I've gone enough to say, here's the value I can offer. I like to share the scars, not the scabs, not because I want to always look good, but because I always want to add value.
Yeah. And I know that you've always done this. You've always done the step by step, the value pack, the that kind. I did a podcast early summer, I think it was, talking about the in between. Like when you feel like you've done all the growth, you've realized all of these things, but they're not integrated into your everyday life, into what you do. It's like the in between. You know something's coming, and you're really impatient because you want to get there and you want to I didn't realize I was burnt out, but you want to get there and you don't really know anything in that moment. And I did a podcast on that, and I was rambling because I didn't have a point. As you say, I didn't have a lesson. I didn't have value, as in I had a neat bow on it, but I got so much feedback from people they were exactly where I was. And they also said that, well, you can ramble on because I'm going to feel seen,
Yeah,
and I think it's a different kind of value, I guess. But as you say, you have to feel what's right for you. What you are comfortable sharing in the moment.
I could be wrong about this, and so you and I might have a different perspective, but I also want to be a leader in my industry. I want to be a mentor. And so to me, just sharing and rambling, I'm your friend. But if I share and add lessons, I'm honest about the bad stuff and I add my lessons, I'm now a leader. I'm a guide, and I want that position in my industry. So maybe that's the way I look at it. And we can look at it differently for sure. You're successful. I'm successful. We got to do our own things. And I think that's what I love about this conversation. You got to do what feels right for you.
Exactly.
That's where it's going to show up as authentic.
Exactly.
If I went on and just said, here's a problem I had today and ramble, I would feel so weird about that. It would not be me.
And so that would show.
Yes.
That you weren't comfortable talking about it. While I'm like, okay, I need to not feel alone in this. And I mean, I think you can be a leader in both ways. It's just different, And also I wanted to ask you, because you must have thought about, because you basically said that now, like with credibility, like if you felt like you would lose credibility when you're honest about your struggles and your mistakes, because now you're in the newsletter too. I think your newsletter is excellent.
Thank you.
It's
most
really
favorite
good
thing I do. Thank you.
That's good that it is, because now you're sharing in a completely different capacity. Yeah.
Yes. So one of the reasons I did a personal newsletter, I call it a personal newsletter because I share personal stories from behind the scenes of entrepreneurship. is that I'm not a good storyteller. So if I'm at a party and I tell a story, I have a people pleaser tendency to get through the story as fast as I can. I don't want to waste your time. And so this is what I wanted to tell you. Where I have friends that draw out the story and give you the details and take you on a journey, and you're like, oh my God, tell me more. So I thought I need to be a better storyteller. We all know that really good marketing is storytelling. And so my mission on my newsletter is to give online marketing strategies every single Tuesday, but it always starts with a short personal story. And it's really pushed me because some days I'm like, I have nothing to share and I have to really dig. But every week I somehow come up with a new story.
I'm so impressed because when I listen to that, I'm like, what do I have to share? I got nothing to share, and that of course I do. But I think I need to start working on that story. What did you call it? Story, like a library story.
Story bank. Yes.
Story bank. Yeah.
Yes.
I need to start one of those because there are stories. I don't. When you're like, come up with a story, I'm like, I don't have one.
I don't have one.
Yeah, but of course we all do. But you also talked about this thing about what is enough, because
Yes.
we think that, because for a lot of years now it's been growth. You have to be bigger, earn more money, have a big team. I know you downsized your team, and I had a big flop with a team a few years ago, where I did a big. I took in a bunch of people, and then it just didn't work at all. And I just let them all go. And so now I'm alone again, which is not good, but so it's knowing like what is enough and when to add another thing, because it's scary, So how do you know what is fear and what is, not taking on too much? You know what I mean?
You said, how do you know what is the year?
No, what is fear?
Fear. I'm sorry. I was like, I know I heard you wrong. Okay. So that's such a great question. What is like fear of growing and moving forward versus being really intentional about growing the business? I love that question because they're very different, but they feel very the same sometimes. So yes, I think one of the most important things is to ask yourself, what do you want ultimately for your business? And getting really clear, what is enough? Like you said, what is enough? So revenue wise, profit wise, but also just energetically enough. So for years and years, you're right, I just grew my business. We had a $20 million year, which was my goal,
insane,
with a 40% profit margin. So insane. And so I wanted to hit that, and I did. And I will say that I don't want to keep that up, because what it took to get there is not necessarily how I want to live my life. It was a great goal. I'm glad I did it, wouldn't change it. But what it took, the bigger team, me working way more than I would like to, and just the level of stress, just not worth it to me. Now, if I ever got back there with doing it differently, I'm all about that. But also asking yourself, how much do you really need? I have a really good girlfriend who is thinking about semi-retiring in her business, and she's really young, and she looked at her finances and she's like, we live very simply. We do not need millions of dollars to be happy. And so I'd rather be spending my time doing something different. And I love that. So number one, getting really clear about what you want and how you want to live your life, and then build a business around that. In the beginning, I built my business and then decided how am I going to live based on this business I built. And that, as you can probably attest to, creates burnout.
Yeah.
And so I really want to make sure everyone heard that. I built a business and then said, okay, now that this business is built, how do I live? How do I want my life? No, that's backwards. So over the last few years, I've been asking, how do I want to live and how can I build this business around that? So there's been some pivots. I did downsize my team in October. We let go of 9 people, not because we were having financial issues. I would be honest with that if it were true. Just because I knew I needed to simplify the business. It was just getting to be too much.
Yeah.
So I just share that to say, when do you know it's fear versus intentionality, is to look at what do you want, and then look at what you have. Is this working the way you want it to? And if not, what needs to change to make sure it does? And I also do not add anything to my business until whatever this is is dialed in. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of one thing at a time. Dial it in, get it optimized, then ask yourself, am I ready for something new? But not until
Yeah.
it's optimized.
It's not shiny thing, shiny thing, shiny thing.
Exactly. Yes.
Because I think that is a thing, especially when you're just getting into the digital course, digital business space,
Yes.
and you're like funnels and launches and all of these different stuff. But it's like you say, you have to look at what it is that you want. And I think it's interesting that you said that you had the $20 million year, because I read a quote just like last week, and it just ingrained itself into my brain. It was from the book 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think.
I heard that's a great book.
Yeah, I listened to it and I literally got 10 minutes into it, and I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I learned too much. I need to pause.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of blew my brain. And I think I needed to read at the same time for it to, integrate.
Yes.
But I took the quote, which I kind of want to build on here. And it is,
Okay.
you are psychologically incapable of predicting what will make you happy.
Ooh.
I know, right?
I
It
don't know if I
hits.
believe that. What was
The thing is that your brain is not built for success. It's built for survival. And
Oh,
so that if you have a thought that if you say like, okay, 20 million, that's going to make me happy, but you haven't been there, so you don't know. And that's why money, success, fame, all of that, the most famous, most rich people are often not happy because they built something thinking that it would solve all of their other problems, and it didn't. And I think just like knowing that your brain, even if you're in a situation that sucks. I mean, you can be in a destructive relationship or something that feels like, okay, this is not good for me, but it's safe because you know it from before, from childhood or something, so some trauma thing. And I have I found out a bunch of those this past year. But it also works the other way around, that if you have something in front of you, a new business venture, standing in front of a camera, and you're like, this is scary, it's just because your brain can't put it under something that it's safe because you've done it before. And it's
yeah.
not going to become safe unless you try it. And it's like what we talked about, like what is fear and what is enough. It's hard to judge what is, but I think that it is something to take with us when we're doing something new and we're scared and we're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Where am I going with this? Is this going to work? That doesn't mean it's wrong. It just
Right.
means it's new because your brain can't archive it under safe, done.
Yes. I recently was watching a YouTube video where a marketing expert was talking about when things get really tough, when they get really hard, we are very conditioned to say something is wrong. I'm
Yeah.
doing this wrong.
Yeah.
And really what it means is I'm in the game. Like, welcome to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
There's never an easy day, in my opinion. And so that's why it's so clear to know what do you want and what's important to you. So on the hard days, it's worth it to
Yeah.
you to
Knowing your why.
know your why.
Yeah.
Yes. But I love that he said, like, it's so easy to say we're doing this wrong. And so anyone listening right now, the next time you feel like you're an imposter, it's not working because you're wrong or it's wrong or you're not doing it right, it's hard because you're in it and you're actually
Yeah.
are doing it and
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah. And yeah, that it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's hard.
It's hard. That's
Yeah,
all.
life is hard, and
Yes.
it's gonna become easier the more you do it.
Yes.
But then if you're an entrepreneur at heart, you're gonna find something new that's hard
Yes.
because we can't
true.
live a simple life now, can we? Um, but we talk about like enough and building and knowing when to add something new. I mean, we have a bunch of people out there now feeling like, okay, maybe I want to do the online course. I need
Yeah.
to, package all of this knowledge because I want more time and I want more money and I want to build something that will work when I don't.
Yes.
But I feel like, and they're like, but I can't, I have all of these full-time clients. I can't, when am I supposed to do this? What do you want to say to those people who are like, I don't know if I can add another thing to my plate. And it's, it takes time, and it's all the tech, and it's, it's like a mountain.
So
I'm giving you the mountain. Make
yes,
it into tiny, tiny pebbles.
if you are thinking, I would love to create a course, but like you said, I do not have the time. If that's one thing that comes up, then you can't not create a course. Meaning a course can give you back time. And
Yeah.
why that is true is that if you, like I said, if you create your digital course, what I teach my students is how to launch it over and over and over again. And the time back is not always starting from scratch. And so now you have an asset
Yeah.
you can make better. Action creates clarity. You get the data, you make it better. But always starting from scratch, always starting something new is why you do not have time. Or if you work one-on-one with clients and there's only so many hours in a day and only so much money you can make. So a course, I've always said, gives you freedom because of that ability to not always start from scratch, and it's one to many. Another thing is, if you want to learn how to create a course and you feel like you don't have the time, you feel very stretched too thin, you've got a 9-to-5 job or busy client work or whatever, learn from somebody who's willing to give you the step by step, me or somebody else. My specialty is step by step by step, meaning if you just follow the plan and chip away, you will create your course. And here's the great thing. Let's say someone creates a course in 3 months, another person 6 months, another person a year. And let's say they all make $20,000 with their first launch, which is very doable for the record. So it took you 3 months, 6 months, a year, but they all made 20,000. Not one of them will say to me, but that took too long.
Yeah.
It takes what it takes, and you'll be so proud of your results. So we don't worry about that part. Just get it out into the world.
Yeah. And as you say, it's like, well, you're never, if you don't do anything different, I know you said do something different last year, maybe you're going to go with that this year too. And it's like, if you don't do anything different, if you continue with the client work, if you continue with your 9-to-5, then definitely nothing's going to be different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to actually try and change it. So, what if one wants to get your help creating a course, how would one do that?
Well, it depends on when this airs. I've got some options.
I'm thinking we're going to get it out as soon as possible, before Thursday.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I have a boot camp. I do it once a year. It's called Course Confident. And the whole goal is to help you to decide if a course is right for you or not. And if it is, then how to kickstart your digital course journey, the decisions that you need to make to get you that momentum. And again, I only do it once a year. It's $47, cheapest thing I offer all year. And it's in a community of other people who are creating their courses. I have coaches there to answer your question. I'm live for 4 trainings, all recorded if you can't make it live because we're in different countries. No problem at all there. And I have the opportunity also to do live Q&As to support people at a bigger level. So it's a really amazing opportunity to first figure out the topic you should be teaching. I'll help you do that. How to validate it to make sure people will pay for what you want to create. How to figure out how to put together an offer for a digital course, how to kickstart your audience so you grow your audience while you create your course, and how to price it to see what's possible. Like that $20,000 I mentioned, we'll do some course math to show you actually it's easier to get to that than you think. So we're getting into all of it to kickstart your course in the bootcamp. It starts on Thursday, and I promise you it will be worth every minute of your time.
I can attest that this is, I mean, the energy in this. I love a live boot camp. I love a live experience, a live workshop, anything. I mean, I do love a good online course too, but like this is really because you get to be in it with people and you can feel the energy, you can feel, and you get some sort of accountability during this time, because it's like, okay, it's 2 weeks. I'm just gonna do this now, because otherwise it's like, oh, well, the kids got sick, or I had to go work out, or, anything else that gets in the way, you're just not gonna do it. But if it's on the calendar, you're gonna do it. And I also have to say, for all my course creators out there, I think it's just really interesting to see, strategically how you do it, how you market it, how you package it, how you deliver it. Because I get a lot of inspiration for my own boot camps and my own launches, like watching you get all of these pieces together. And I think it's worth the money just to look at that, just to see how you, because I'm like, I can do that. I can do this, because that is you could do that as a spotlight course,
Yes, I share a lot of examples in the bootcamp of what you could create and what type of course. That's another big thing that comes up. What type of course should I create? Well, there's 3 different types of courses. I break them all down and give you a bunch of examples.
Yeah. So I think that you should definitely check out the bootcamp, because it's really good. I've done it a few times. I'm definitely going to do it this year, because I am, as I said, completely redoing my business. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do next.
Yes.
So I hope I get a bunch of my pals in there with me, and then, on to the next thing.
Yes.
Because I feel like I'm really excited about this turn that we are in now. Like I've been talking about personal branding for like 15 years. And now it's like, well, you are your unique selling point. And I know it's uncomfortable, because everyone is like, well, I spend 24/7 with myself. I'm boring. But other people don't think so. Yeah. And if you actually just let yourself be you, which is the easiest and the hardest thing that there is, and if you do that, your thing is going to sell, because people will feel the authenticity. Then, of course, they have to also need what you're selling. But, that feeling, that energy is going to soar through. And let's just do it.
Let's do it. If you've ever thought about creating a course, or if you've tried it and it hasn't worked, or if you're looking for a different way to build your business, get inside Course Confident. The bootcamp will absolutely help you start moving forward in a new direction.
Yeah. Amy is your girl. I sign up because I started listening to Online Marketing Made Easy 2015. So it's 10 years in the making. Yeah. So incredible. Take it from me. This one is legit.
Well, thank you, my friend. It's such a pleasure to be on your show. I love the conversations we had.
Yeah, this was really good. Thank you so much for being here.
Take care.
And good luck with the launch. Take care.
Thank you.
Och det var det. Tack snälla för att du har lyssnat på det här avsnittet. Om du tyckte om det så får du hemskt gärna dela det i sociala medier. Mig hittar du på @lalinda på Instagram. Jag hoppas vi hörs nästa gång igen. Ha det så bra. Hej då.